and the publisher was Follett. And right in the beginning, the teacher's manual was basically telling a teacher what she should be doing with this particular global education course. And it said right there that it was humanistic philosophy, and anybody who knows what the Humanist Manifesto is, a lot of people don't know. They think humanism is a good, wonderful thing, humane, we'll be nice to our neighbors, and you love everybody. They have no idea that the Humanist Manifesto is the plan, the total international takeover, atheistic control plan for the UN. That's what it is. And anything goes, tolerance of everything, no matter what, no religion, no sovereignty, world government, get rid of the military, it's a basic agenda. And it's been around for a long time, and major signers were B.F. Skinner, who's, I could make a pigeon a high achiever by reinforcing it on a proper schedule, which is the method being used in the schools across the board now, being used in our communities now. You do good deeds, the police, community-oriented policing system gives you a little medal. Some parents calling me and saying, we can't understand, why on earth are they putting in the comprehensive health education in this community, because we don't have any pregnancies, we don't even have problems with the kids drinking or drugs or anything. Why are they putting it here? And I said, because you don't. The goal is to get you to have the problem. And when they can crash the morals and values, and they can crash the academics, then they can impose the totalitarian system, which is George Bush is putting in right now. Clinton before, Bush Sr. before, Reagan before, Carter before, whoever, Nixon, they've all been in it. I mean, all the way pre-World War I. We have had, every single president has had the same agenda. Might as well make that clear. And I mean, sometimes the end of an interview comes and the guy will say, well, do you have anything you want to say? And I say, yeah, there's only one thing you have to remember when you go home, and this is easy. There isn't any difference between the Republican and the Democratic parties at the top. And this has been planned ever since the late 1800s. In the late 1800s, when the financial elite got together and they said, if we're going to have this international system, we're going to have to control both parties at the top, so that when the voters go to the polls, they'll pull a thing and they won't know that it doesn't make any difference who they vote for. They're going to get this. They won't know that. And that's the most important thing for Americans to remember right now. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, people thought that George Bush was going to be a good Christian conservative coming. They should have known better. They should have known that he's not far from his father or his grandfather. But they didn't want to listen. I mean, if I said that, they'd say, we're conspiracy. It's another subject. Of course it's conspiracy. It's the only country in the world that doesn't accept the idea of conspiracy. The only country in the world. Now, I've lived all over the world. All other foreigners and people, and I don't care, you've traveled enough. There's never been anything that happened in this world politically that wasn't a conspiracy. Academics to total brainwashing and the Soviet polytech system, school to work, Cuban system, German system, where the children have absolutely no choice in their future occupation. They start training them, in 3rd, 4th grade for what they're going to be. The agreement is made between industry and government. That's Soviet system if people don't know it. Of course, they don't have free enterprise industry, but they have industry. And that's part of the Soviet plan, right, the platform. And the same thing here now with partnerships. To see where the values were, put them through the program, ask them all about mom and dad, what goes on at home, what's this, what's that, all to do with their behavior and attitudes. And after the program's finished, post-test to see if it worked. That is going on day in and day out in the American public school system. And when parents and whoever hear about test scores, assessment, etc., don't think that's traditional academics. It isn't. The mandated federal test, which came out of my office as well, the National Assessment for Education Progress, is 60% politically correct. So when you hear that your children in your state haven't done well on it, maybe you should say, I'd like to see the test, rather than just assuming that anything coming out of the United States Department of Education is anything other than plain evil. It's a Marxist factory. Or out of the White House saying, being excused by the public as, oh well, it's not his fault. It's not Bush's fault. It's Karl Rove. Or it's someone else. Or, he doesn't know what's going on. Look. Okay, if you don't know what's going on, you shouldn't be in the White House. He knows he's not particularly bright, George Bush, but he's doing an awfully good job for those who want to take us down. You can't say that he isn't doing a wonderful job, because Iraq was never meant to work the way we were told. They have to destroy the Middle East first in order to restructure it as a region. Okay? You asked about regions? All right, let's go back to regions. It's easier to deal with regions than it is with countries. And I think it was Lenin who said, we, the communists, will set up regions around the world. You implement socialism in about 8 or 10 regions. You get it, okay? The European Union is a very good example. That is a region. That is the region, that is the prototype for all the other regions around the world. The one they're setting up in Africa, Middle East, Bush, Vicente Fox, Martin, Canada. Here, got about 10 regions being set up, okay? Gorbachev sometimes really is useful. He said in London 3 or 4 years ago, he said, and think of this in terms of the United States region with Mexico and Canada too. He said the European Union is the new European Soviet. Now if that doesn't send chills up your spine for the old Europe, nothing will. But if you don't care about Europe, what do you think Gorbachev would say about what George Bush is putting in here? Wouldn't he say that the merger of Mexico, the United States, and Canada is what? I'm going to ask the audience. Not the new European Soviet, but the new what? American Soviet. Cookie cutter, button pushing people. Period. That's it. And so anyway, we'll go back to that's the frog. Okay, gradualism and morality too. We keep falling off the cliff more and more and more with the values clarification. But we'll get into that. The next thing. Let's call it the dialectic. The next thing. The dialectic is you have the thesis and the antithesis and the synthesis in the middle. The thesis is it's wrong to steal. The antithesis is okay. Okay, you keep talking about it, have all these meetings in our communities, get the community involved, we're going to discuss this stuff together, and you end up, let's say it's wrong to steal drugs for your sick mother. It's wrong. No, after all the discussion, you come to the middle. It's okay sometimes. Because she's sick. She's going to die. So you can steal when she's going to die. Huh? Okay, so you keep moving closer and closer, you finally fall right off the cliff, you have no morals left at all. And this could apply to homosexuality or murder or anything. I mean, look, if you have a father that you don't like, who's been beating you up ever since you were 2 years old or other things, whatever, really, I'm sure that you really think it's okay to kill him. You can justify that in your mind, and that is what has happened to all of the sick character education, values education programs in this country, which try to base their curriculum on character education. To base it on a system that has no relationship whatsoever to Christianity, right? You can't do it. It doesn't work. And we have all these children, these sad kids running around in trouble. Even if they're not in trouble, look at their faces. They're tragic. They can't read, they can't write, they can't talk, they can't smile. So we've done that, okay. So then